Welcome to our YouTube channel, the AG Vlog. A for Anthony, yep, that's me.
And J is for Jasmine, that's me. How's your day, guys?
Hope you have a great and productive day.
So for today's vlog,
We will enlighten you guys about the poem that is written by a famous writer during the 18th century, which is Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, entitled A Psalm of Life. So, what are we waiting for? Let's go!
it is a poem written by American writer Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, often subtitled What the Heart of the Young Man Said to the Psalmist. Longfellow wrote the poem not long after the death of his first wife and while thinking about how to make the best of life. It was first published anonymously in 1838 before being included in a collection of Longfellow's poems the next year. Its inspirational message has made it one of Longfellow's most famous poems. The author's background: Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, one of the fireside poets, wrote lyrical poems about history, mythology, and legend that were popular and widely translated, making him the most famous American of his day. What the heart of the young man said to the psalmist: Tell me not in mournful numbles, life is but an empty dream, for the soul is dead that slumbers, and things are not what they seem. The first stanza begins the poem by illustrating the perception of life according to the audience and how the speaker initially reacts to such an insight. The phrase mournful numbers suggests that the audience is not one but many voices. The speaker is asking that these voices cease their complaining and whining that life is but an empty dream, presented as a direct quotation to dramatize the audience's statement. Life is real, life is earnest, and the grave is not its goal. Thus thou art, to dust returnest, was not spoken of the soul. The second stanza begins with the line, Life is real, life is earnest. This also conveys the poet's positive attitude towards life. According to him, life is real and serious, not baseless or useless, so we should not take this life lightly. To him, grave is not the ultimate goal of life. Life does not end with death. He wants to indicate that our works remain in this world even after our death. He thinks, Dust thou art, to dust thou returnest. You are made of dust, and you will be back to dust after death. Is only spoken of the body and it is not applicable to the soul. So, the poet makes it clear that he believes in the existence of the soul after our death. Not enjoyment and not sorrow is our destined end or way, but to act that each tomorrow find us further than today. The stanza of A Psalm of Life is about the ideal way of living. The poet suggests that neither enjoyment nor sorrow should be our ultimate aim or way of life. He means to say that in an ideal life, there should be both enjoyment and sorrow in a balanced way. But that is not crucial. The most important thing is to work and work diligently so that we can always be a better learned, better skilled, and better mannered human being with every passing day. The poet in the Psalm of Life doesn't want us to waste even a single day. We should crave for going forward further each day in our journey of life. Art is long, and time is fleeting, and our hearts, though stout and brave, still, like muffled drums, are beating funeral marches to the grave. The fourth stanza of the poem A Psalm of Life is about our responsibilities in this life, about the work assigned to us. Art is long, and time is fleeting. Means that we work given to us is vast and time consuming. But the time is running away fast with every moment. The poet then says that though our hearts are brave and stout at other times, we fear death and our heart beats when we realize that death is certainly coming our way bet by bet. Longfellow compares this situation of our heart to the beating of the clothed drums at the funeral marches to the grave. Here he means to say that we should utilize our limited time span to the fullest instead of wasting it in the thought of death in order such thing. In the world's broad field of battle, in the bivouac of life, be not like dumb, driven cattle, be a hero in the strife. In the above stanza of A Psalm of Life, the poet compares this world to a vast battlefield where we, the human beings, come temporarily in the camps to fight the battle of our life. So the human beings are compared with troops. The poet urges us to be a hero in this battle of life, to fight this out bravely and finally win it. In other words, he wishes us to be successful in life by following the right way of life. He doesn't like to see us like the dumb cattle driven by others with no particular goal or direction. Trust no future. However pleasant, let the dead past bury its dead. Act, act in the living present. Heart within, and God o'erhead. Next stanza of the poem A Psalm of Life, the poet reminds us of a very popular quote: learn from the past, live in the present, and hope for the future. But here the poet instructs us not to trust the future. However pleasant it may seem, because we often get carried away by the happy dreams about our future and forget to act in the present. He also tells us to forget the past events, as they are dead and they should not haunt us anymore and affect our present action. And what is crucial is to act in the present, in the living present. We have to follow our heart and keep faith in the God overhead. Lives of a great man all remind us we can make our lives sublime and departing leave behind us footprints on the sands of time. In the seventh stanza of the poem, the poet says that the lives of so many great and successful men remind us that we can also achieve those heights if we wish to strive for that. And if we can do that, we would be living forever in our works, in the hearts of people. Longfellow compares this immortality to leaving footprints on the sands of time. In other words, we will not be living forever here, but we can leave our marks on the infinite flow of time through our good work that we would inspire later generations to follow our way. Footprints that perhaps another, sailing over life's solemn main, a forlorn and shipwrecked brother, seeing shall take heart again. In the penultimate stanza of A Psalm of Life, the poet continues the same theme of leaving a footprint to inspire others to follow. He compares a dejected or rich person with a hopeless shipwrecked man sailing over the large sea of life, life's solemn mean. That person can find the examples set by us and can gain courage and hope to move forward. Let us then be up and doing, with a heart for any faith, still achieving, still pursuing. Learn to labor and to wait. In the final four lines of A Psalm of Life, the poet Longfellow asked us to be up at once and start working. However, the poet here urged us not to mind the consequences or to make our mind prepared for any fate. We must carry on reaching great heights. Still not living, we must learn to labor or work hard to act wisely and wait for the rewards patiently. Explication analysis of A Psalm of Life. The poem Psalm of Life dramatizes the conflict between life and death, specifically how each condition is to be perceived and subsequently experienced. The speaker is an optimistic, compelling psalmist who is concerned with the address's pessimistic opinion of life as a worthless fantasy that is rapidly careening towards inevitable death. The speaker wishes to express how life and death ought to be observed, and how the relationship between the two is meant to stimulate growth and achievement. Such notions are illustrated particularly by the style of poetic language, Judeo-Christian allusion, and the romantic elements of the carpet diem theme. The theme of a poem, A Psalm of Life, the poet has incorporated using a plenty of literary elements. We should not mourn the past. Instead, we should live the present moments of life to the fullest.
So, going through this poem, we now realize how inspiring and motivating his poem has been. The poet conveys his message all over the poem, but I feel the message from the first two lines and the very last line of the poem are enough to give an impression of what this poem is all about. We should not spend our priceless moments sitting idly and doing nothing. Rather, we have to work hard towards reaching our goal and to make the most out of this short life of ours. And that ends for the poem A Psalm of Life by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow.
So, we now know what is the message of the poem and why the writer wrote it.
We hope that you learned something from this poem that you can apply to your daily lives. Thank you guys! Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share.
And hit the notification bell for the new updates.
Once again, this is Anthony Bitonio Bueno,
And Jasmine B. Siloson,
the AG Vlog, signing out.